When I first started my YouTube channel, I did not have a clue what should be in my basic makeup bag. At that point in my makeup journey, my makeup bag was very, very basic. I had mascara and I had an eyeshadow palette. And the palette was normally either Maybelline or CoverGirl, those little quad palettes. And that was it. That was my makeup. There was no blush, no foundation, no bronzer, none of the things. And now, since I have been doing this for a while, I have all the things. Are all the things necessary? No, they're not. So today we're going to talk about what I believe should be in my basic makeup bag. Hey, howdy, hey y'all, Leanna here. This is my monthly collab with Andy from Andy Does Stuff, and she will also be talking about what's in her basic makeup bag. Now, Andy and I have different skin types. I am oily combination and she has dry skin. So hopefully we will hit the basics for just about every skin type. Of course, the first step to get flawless makeup is going to be your skin prep. I have already done my skin prep. I put on my lotions and potions and serums and such. And so now it's time to get into the makeup. 90% of the time, I do not wear a face primer. I use my skincare as my face primer. A face primer, in my very humble opinion, truly is not necessary. However, there are different primers that supposedly do different things. So if you need something to blur your pores or to help keep the oil from coming through your makeup, there's all different types of primers that you can get for your different skin care makeup concerns. Andy and I are both doing affordable basic makeup today, and so for my affordable face primer pick, I'm choosing the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This was one of the very first primers that I purchased when I started my makeup journey. And this is a very good primer, I believe, for blurring the pores in my T-zone. I do have quite large pores in my T-zone. Let me pull my mirror just a little bit closer. I have hit pan in this and I'm having trouble getting it out because of my fingernails. I'm going to get a little spatula and use that to put it on. Mostly in my T-zone because that's where I have most of the problem. And I slathered enough on there that it will spread pretty evenly across the rest of my face. There are so many different primers on the market. Sometimes it's difficult to determine what kind of primer you need. e.l.f. does make really good primers. They have a gripping primer, which I'm not real crazy about the gripping primers, but this Poreless Putty Primer does help to kind of minimize the pores, especially here around my nose. I do like this. If I'm going to use a primer, I do prefer the e.l.f. primer. The next product that I like to put on, which I feel like is more important for me than the actual face primer, is my setting spray. e.l.f. also makes some really good setting sprays. This is a Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist. It has an amazing mister on it. Even when this bottle gets empty, if I will take the other setting sprays that I have and put it in here because the mister on this is way better than the others. But I like to put this on before I put on my foundation. Just a light coat. And I will let that dry. And if I need to, I will take my damp sponge and just kind of pat that in a little bit. You can get a fan if you want and fan it to dry it down. One thing that I do not like is that it gets all over my shirt. Normally, I will take a towel and kind of lay it across my shirt when I spray it on so that it doesn't get all over me, because I don't like that. Once that has dried down, then I move on to my foundation. I put my makeup on in a weird way, as you will see. I picked 2 different foundations because I know some people don't like a powdered foundation. I much prefer a powder foundation. What I'm actually going to use is really not considered a powdered foundation, but that's what I use it for. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that it's going to be the CoverGirl Simply Ageless Instant Wrinkle Blurring Pressed Powder. This is in the shade Buff Beige, and I have several shades of this because, you know, in the summertime need something a little bit darker than what I need in the wintertime. The other foundation that I picked, which is a liquid foundation for those of you that love your liquid foundations, is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. This foundation is phenomenal. But for today's video, I'm going to use the CoverGirl because I want you to see how I apply it and then what I do afterwards so that my skin does not look dry and powdery. So I pick up some of the powder and then I just put it on my face, obviously. Captain Obvious. Now, I know that I don't have some of the skin concerns that a lot of people have. I have this blood vessel right here, which does not bother me. I never do anything to attempt to cover that up. It just doesn't bother me. Things like that don't bother me. But I know some people have concerns, you know, hyperpigmentation, dark spots, that you might need something a little bit more full coverage. I don't. I'm fortunate that I do not have that problem. But as you can see, do you see how this powder is blurring my skin? Can you see it? This powder, I'm telling you, this powder is phenomenal. And I mean, you see my big old giant pan. I use this all the time. I just love it. I love it. So I put that on, pull it down, and from there I go into working on my under eyes. My under eyes can be very dry, and again, I have a little bit of darkness right here, but that's because of that wrinkle. If I pull that out, it's not too terribly bad. But I do like to take the e.l.f. Putty Color Correcting Eye Brightener. I really don't need to correct anything, but for me, this is very moisturizing. But I just take that and I use my little Angie Hot and Flashy A506. This is like kind of like a kitten paw, and I just get a little bit on there and just put it under my under eyes, on my under eyes. This is very moisturizing. Can you see how moisturizing that is? It just adds a little bit of moisture to my under eyes, and I will go up on my lids a little bit too before I put down my concealer. And next I'm going to go in with a concealer. Now, if you've been with me a while, you know that I don't typically use a concealer, but I've actually started using a concealer every day, and I use a concealer that has actual skincare in it. I don't believe that our makeup products necessarily need to have skincare in them, but I find for my under eyes, because they are very dry and they're crinkled and wrinkled and you know, all the things, that having a little bit of skincare in my under eye concealer has been helpful for my dry eyes. It helps the appearance of all the fine lines and crepiness that I have going on there. This NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum is very hydrating. It has green tea in it and other skincare ingredients that really help to keep my under eyes hydrated, and it just makes them look better throughout the day. I really don't have a lot there to conceal as far as, you know, darkness and all of that, but it really helps. The skincare in these types of concealers really help, and it also helps with the puffiness, because if you can see, especially on this eye, I have a little bit of puffiness, and this will help with that. So I just put some on my finger to kind of warm it up. I put too much on my finger, I can tell you. And then I don't use a lot. I'm just going to tap a little bit under my eye. And then I'm just going to take that same brush that I used for the under eye brightener, and I'm just going to tap this out. Now I do have a little bit of darkness, as you can see right there in the corner of my eye, so I am going to take that up into that corner. But I'm just going to tap it out like you do. And I'm going to take whatever's left and just kind of go up on my eye. And like I said, I don't need much, just a little bit. And it does help to even out the skin tone in that area and kind of make it, you know, look the same as what I have going on here with the powder that I have put on. Doing the same on this eye, getting up in that corner that can be kind of dark. And just whatever's left on the brush, I'm going to carry up on my eye, which they will tell you not to do. Don't put concealer on your eyelid, but I'm hard-headed, so I do what I want, because as Andy would say, ain't nobody the boss of me. And there we go. I will take my finger and just kind of pat it out a little bit. Just make sure that it's all evenly spread around. Now, before I get into any other of the products that I'm going to put on my face, I'm going to put on my eye primer, because I like to blend that in before I put on bronzer and blush. And since we're doing affordable, I'm going to use this AOA Studio Top Secret Concealer as my eye primer. And this works really well as an eye primer. It kind of reminds me of a MAC Painterly paint pot, but it really does work well. I have been using this quite a bit. You can see I have a nice little dip going on in there. And I have this little bitty brush, and I just get some on there and then put it on. It doesn't need to be super thick. I just like how it gives me a nice blank canvas for my eyeshadows, and it's a little tacky, so it will, I am going to set it, but it will help to keep my shadows in place all day. And then I'm just going to take my finger and pat it out. It really does work really well. Now I have a beautiful blank canvas. You see the difference? Because I do have a little bit of discoloration on my eyelids. And now, before I move on to the next eye, I'm going to set that, because my eyelids My under eyes so much don't really crease, but my eyelids will crease. So I'm going to take my CoverGirl on this AOA Studio high definition brush. It's an E103, and I'm going to use that to set my eye primer. This is a beautiful powder in that it is very soft and silky, so it works wonderful to set your eye primer. For my bronzer, I chose two different bronzers because even though this is a basic makeup bag, I'm extra. I'm just extra. So I chose two different kinds. I have a cream bronzer and a powder bronzer. This Revolution cream bronzer is just phenomenal. And if you have dry skin, this is very creamy. And also, I find for my skin that this works really well for me in the summertime. I mean, I know that it's good to have something creamy in the winter, but this works really well for me in the summer. So I really like this one. But if you prefer a powder bronzer, of course, this is a cult favorite, the Physicians Formula Muru Muru Butter Bronzer, and this is in bronzer, is the shade, right? Yep, bronzer. And you can see that both of these have pan in them because I use them quite frequently. Sometimes people will put the cream bronzer on and then set it with the powder bronzer. So, and I might do that. Who knows? Being that I'm being extra and not adhering to a basic. But what exactly is basic? Is that a fewer number of products? Probably. So I'm going to get a little bit of this cream bronzer on my brush, and then I'm going to tap that in. This is such a good bronzer. Do you see how effortless that was? It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's so creamy and it just blends out so well. I love it. Let's move on to blush. And of course, my blush choices are also going to be e.l.f. products. I have two of the primer infused blushes, which work really well because they really do stay, especially in the summertime. And I also have a little putty blush. Now, do you need 3 in your basic? No, you don't. I just picked 3 because I wasn't sure what shade I wanted to use. But I think I am going to lean towards this one. So I'm going to put the other 2 to the side and we're going to pretend like they're not there in the basic bag. Okay? This is Always Punchy is the shade of this one. It is a beautiful summer shade. And I'm using my Nikki LaRoche BK Beauty blush brush to put that on. Look at how beautiful that is. And I like to put my blush up kind of high so that it doesn't drag my face down, because I got enough dragging down of the face as it is. My face is slowly just melting on down. Not really, I'm being silly, but. And I like to put a little bit of blush across my nose. And that's why I like to put my eye primer on, because see how it's kind of blended? If I put my eye primer on after I do all of this, I have the tendency to take it out too far and get it over top of my blush and bronzer and all the things. Next we have highlighter. And again, being extra, I do love this Milani baked highlighter. This is Dulce Perla, which again is another cult favorite. It's such a beautiful, beautiful highlighter. But also, one of my new favorites is this NYX Born to Glow. Now, this is a liquid illuminator, and you know, typically you would put an illuminator under your foundation, but this is a beautiful highlighter. Beautiful. I love it. So I'm going to use the Milani first. This just gives you a very, very beautiful, soft glow. Y'all, I have been using some skincare. I'm going to be doing an updated skincare video, and I cannot wait to tell you about this product that I have been using. Look at how pretty that is. Now let's use this Born to Glow. So I just get a little bit of that on my finger, and then I just tap it on my cheek. Do you see how pretty that is? I love it. This will probably be the first, and I know it's not a traditional highlighter, but it's going to be the first one that I ever use up, because I'm already have to squeeze the tube to get some out. I love it. It is such an amazing product. I absolutely love it. Did I tell you I love it? I love it. Before I do my eyes, I want to do my brows, and I have this e.l.f. Wow Brow tinted gel. I really do like a tinted gel for my eyebrows. I don't like to use pencils. The gel works just fine for me. I should have gotten this just a little bit darker. You know, I love my Oma by Sharon C, and they've gone out of business, and that one is almost gone, so I'm trying to find something else to use. But I like to put my brows on before I do my eyeshadow, because it just kind of frames my eyes to help me when I'm doing my eyeshadow. And this is just very soft, but I wish it were just a titch darker, but it is a nice product. Very easy to use, very user-friendly. Quick, easy brows. So now, in your basic bag, you do not need an eyeliner unless you like an eyeliner. Sometimes I like to tightline, sometimes I don't. But this NYX eyeliner, this is the Epic Smoke Liner. It's an angled liner, and it has a blender on it. This is Black Smoke. I like this because it has that angled tip on it, and it makes it a little bit easier for me to tightline. I tightline before I put my shadow on, because my eyes are crepey. It's a little difficult sometimes for me to get the eyeliner on. It'll end up on my lid. I'll have to pull my lid up, and it makes a mess. Do you see how it made a mess right there? So I don't want to make a mess on my eye look after I've done all that beautiful blending and everything. So I put this on first. Then that way it can be as messy as it wants to be, and it does not matter, because I'm going to put my eyeshadow on, and it's going to cover all that up. I have this NYX Professional Highlight and Contour Pro palette. This is a phenomenal palette. You can use this entire palette to create an eye look, and of course to do your bronzer, your contour, your highlight, all the things. It is an amazing palette. I'm not going to use it today, but I did want to mention it because if you're doing a basic bag, this may be all that you want to do. If you like to do a very natural, minimal, neutral look, this is perfect. I actually did a video where I did a whole minimal look, and I will put that up in the iCard if you want to go watch it, but this creates a phenomenal look. But for this video, I chose the LA Girl palette because it's small, it has a little bit of color in it. If you wanted, you could use the more neutral leaning one. This is a beautiful palette too. I love all of the looks that I have ever created with this palette. When these palettes came out, they were $9.99. You can pick them up now for like $7. And I'll have those linked down in the description box. But for today's video, I want to use this one. This is the Keep It Playful Playmate palette. And I have not used this palette, which is why I want to use it today. It is a very, very beautiful palette. So I am just going to quickly create a look with this. I will probably throw in some music. Very quick, simple, pretty little eye look. These little palettes are absolutely amazing. Now, before I do my eyelashes, I am going to use my setting spray again. Here's the towel I was telling you about. I just take this towel and place it right here, because I do not like to get my neck and my shirt all wet. And I spray my face pretty good so that it melts all of those powders into my skin so that I don't look powdery. And then I take my sponge and I put a little bit on the flat side of my sponge. And I tap that because I don't want it to be super wet. And then I just lightly go over my face, under my under eye. I will even go over my eyeshadow because my eyes are crinkly and the powder from my eyeshadow can make my eyes look more crinkled. I should have put on more blush than I did. Sometimes the blush will disappear, but I will just take this and just press it on my eyes. It does the same thing on your eyelids that it does to the powder on your skin, because eyeshadow is a powder, and it just sets it and keeps it from looking so powdery. So now I'm going to let that do its thing for a little bit before I do anything else with that. And I'm going to move on to my eyelashes. I love, now you don't need a lash primer, but I love this Essence lash primer. And I use this because, I mean, look, do you see any eyelashes? I have none. But this will make me look like I have more lashes than I do. It is a nice eye primer and it has a nice wand on it. It's not too big. I don't like those really big eyelash wands. My eyes are kind of small. So for my mascara, I am using the Essence Call Me Queen mascara. I really like this mascara. I like the wand because, as I just said, I don't like a big wand, and this wand is small and it's rubbery, and it makes it so much easier for me to put my mascara on without me getting it all over myself. Now for a lip, Essence 8-Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner does last quite a long time, and I do have the 8-Hour Matte liquid lipstick that goes with it. This is the, what shade is this? Hazelnut is the shade of this, and this is one of those retractable lip liners. And then the liquid lipstick, I believe, is also in hazelnut. Yes, silky hazelnut. That is very creamy and it feels very light on the lips. It does not feel heavy, and from what I remember, it does not, I mean, it dries down, but it doesn't make your lips feel, you know, that dry, cakey feeling that you get sometimes with your liquid lip products. So those are all of the products that I would have in my basic makeup bag. Do you need all of those products? Absolutely not. Do you need any products? You do not. You do not need any makeup products at all. Makeup is just used to enhance the natural beauty that you already are. So, do I have too many? What do you have in your basic makeup bag? Like I said, when I first started my makeup journey, all I had was a mascara and a very small eyeshadow palette, and now I have Lordy-Loo. I have a ton of makeup, but it makes me happy, and that's what matters. So what products do you actually need in your makeup bag, your basic makeup products? You need the products that make your heart sing. So let me know down in the comments what your favorite basic makeup products are. Don't forget to go check out Andy's channel. I will have her video linked down below so that you can see what Andy's basic makeup products are. Thank you, Andy, once again for another collab. I truly do enjoy collabing with Andy. She is absolutely amazing. If you are new here and you do not know who Andy is, make sure that you check her out, watch a few of her videos, and if you vibe with her, maybe you can subscribe to her channel. I hope that you enjoyed seeing what's in my basic makeup bag. If you did, I'd love it if you would hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you'd like to watch another video, I picked this one just for you. And I will see y'all in my next video. Okay, love you, bye.